Well, good morning. Lots of meditation, contemplation, pondering going on this morning. Not that that is new for me. The title for the video for the 20th of August is Michael Tsarion says anything goes is okay. Michael Tsarion is brilliant. I have listened to him for hours in his videos. Yesterday someone sent me Zero Tolerance for the Lie, which is an excerpt from one of his videos, and I did provide the link. I listened to it at least 3 times in a row. It made me think, which is true of many of his ideas. I like that. However, when he said that pedophile priests and others who commit atrocities have an absolute right to do what they do, I was appalled. Sorry, Michael, I cannot agree with you here. To me, natural law forbids causing harm and violating the free will of any other. And you are telling me that child abuse and molestation are okay? I don't think so. Society not only has a right, it has a responsibility to purge such individuals from our ranks, not necessarily killing them, but at least placing them under strict quarantine. Yeah, lots of contemplation going on, and this video really gave me a lot of food for thought yesterday, along with the over 2 hours of training and ceremony with the Red Dragon. I mean, it was a day of deep introspection, which continues as I woke up this morning. I've been awake since 1 something. I saw the 1. The clock was sort of blurred, and I had to pick the clock up to get the numbers, to get the letters unblurred, and it's 1 o'clock. Oh, God. I didn't get much sleep because it only was 10 o'clock when I turned out the lights. Anyway, this idea that Michael proposed, that everyone has an absolute right to do whatever they do, and no one has the right to correct anybody else or to tell them that they're wrong or to tell them that they're out of bounds or anything like that. I mean, a society run like that, which is sort of like the society we live in, right? Everybody thinks they can do whatever they want, except the powers that be try to control the people that aren't in power, aren't rich, aren't among the elite establishment. You know, they can control us, but we can't control them. That there's something wrong with trying to tell them, look, wait a minute, you've gone way overboard here. Priests and cardinals and bishops and stuff like that shouldn't be molesting little children before they've even reached the age of making a decision for themselves how to handle their sexuality. You're abusing them. And all of the other crimes against humanity that are being committed by the elite, we don't have the right to correct them? Michael, give me a break. Anybody that thinks like that is insane to me. I know you said the word unsane. That anybody's unsane to think that they have the right to control anybody else or to draw lines to protect the weakest of our citizens, or any of our citizens for that matter, any of the people. And I know people are going to say, why are you using the word citizen? Because that's how we think. That's our language. It may not be the proper use of language, and some of you think that you have to use language in a certain way and are always sending me things with hyphens and stuff like that because you've been brainwashed by these people that are saying that the language is what entraps us. It casts spells on us. Well, maybe it does. Just like everything else in our society. It is our society. We've got to use what we have and take it for ourselves and not apply the meaning that somebody else applied to it. We've got to apply our own meaning. We've got to use our own discretion and how we choose to live. I mean, some people think that, well, you can't sign any contracts. You can't enter into any agreement because if you do, then you're contracting with them. And yet the contracts are forced by threat of incarceration, threat of any type of violence, threats of fines, threats of creating all sorts of problems in our lives if we don't abide by them. There's all sorts of things in our society that are out of whack. I'm sorry. They're out of whack. They're not in compliance with natural law. Is there such a thing as natural law? Does it even exist? Does it even exist that the universe cares whether we behave ourselves in a just and right manner? Or is it really an anything goes universe? Well, obviously, it has been an anything goes universe, and I lay that at the feet of Creator. I'm sorry. Now you say, Ron, how can you blame the Creator for what we, the people, have chosen to do? And even the ambassador continues to emphasize, we are the sinners. And I don't like the word sinners, quite frankly, because it implies that there's something wrong with us. Well, there is something wrong with us in the sense that we've created a society that is destructive of its own self, and it destroys the host planet on which we live. And it commits atrocities day in and day out. This is humanity doing this. Is it, though? The Red Dragon was talking about waging war and principalities and powers. He's talking about beings that are not terrestrial, okay? Demons, jinn. Do they have the right to commit violent acts anywhere in the cosmos? Is that a natural right? I would say no, it's not. It's an aberration. It's something that makes the Creator cry. I have no pleasure in the death of the wicked, God says in the Bible, supposedly, but that the wicked turn from their evil ways and live. Turn ye, for why will you die, O house of Israel, O Prince of God? Why will you die? Why do you choose death when I have placed before you life and blessing and abundance? Why do you choose the opposites? Why do you choose to live in a deranged mental construct, creating illusions for yourself that as if you're not going to be accountable, as if you're not going to be responsible and not have to pay or experience repercussions for your actions? No, there is a thing as natural law. And it's, as Thomas Jefferson said, it's self-evident truth. How do we know it's self-evident? Now, there's people maybe that might say, it's not self-evident, Ron. What do you mean self-evident truth? There's no such thing as self-evident truth. You're getting off on this God thing of we hold these truths to be, that the Creator endowed us with unalienable rights. God, give me a break, Ron. Don't talk like that, Ron. Yeah, don't talk like that. All right. How about if we take Rockefeller? Doesn't matter which one. Take your pick. Or one of the Rothschilds. Take your pick. Or a pope. Or anybody that thinks that they're in power and have control over others. Take any one of them and abuse them. Abuse them. Let them be waterboarded or some other form of torture. Let them experience it for themselves. And then let them tell you that they weren't abused. Well, where's the idea of abuse come from? You're not allowed to do this to me. This is wrong. Of course they know it's wrong. Of course they know it's wrong. Everybody knows it's wrong when it's happening to them. Everybody. Which is why I think it's a good idea that police, before they can be given a badge and sworn into their office, have to see what it feels like to have somebody hit them with a baton or with their stick or tase them. They should have to see what it feels like and experience it on the other end. It's easy for them to dish it out because they have no personal experience. They think, well, it doesn't matter because we've been desensitized and brainwashed by our video games that make killing look like a sport. No. Society not only has a right, as I said, it has a responsibility to address these issues. And we must address them. We must not allow the laissez-faire attitude of anything goes and justify people making bad decisions, Michael Tsarion. How can you justify such acts? Yes, we do have each of us have an individual responsibility to make the changes that we need to make in our own life. I totally get that. I agree with that. That's not the issue. The issue is in what we're willing to allow as a society, in our culture. Are we going to continue to allow atrocities, abuse, violence, without repercussions of those powerful people, powerful beings at the top that are committing these horrendous crimes? Now, we can make a rationalization and say, well, they're waking us up. So in that respect, they're doing something positive. As I've said in my poem many years ago, and as I've said many times in many videos, God can say of Satan's plan, it's just a part of mine. But Satan does not have the right, or Lucifer, or whatever you want to call the demonic demiurge, or whatever you want to call this thing, does not have the right to abuse other beings and to violate other beings' free will through some kind of fraud and coercion and manipulation, where you're making them think they don't even have a right, because you've disempowered them, you've stripped them of the ability to make free will choices, so that they don't any longer have free will. You've taken their free will away from them by a system of lies and corruption and threats of violence, and the whole culture is held in place by that. Give me a break. I don't want to keep living in a culture that anything goes. I'm sorry, there are rules. They're simple rules. They're not complex rules. And no, we can't make somebody else love us or make somebody else love themselves. But we can and we must punish. And you say, who has the right to punish anybody else? We all have the right and the responsibility to protect ourselves. Self-defense and defense of the community is essential. Now you say, who's going to establish the community standards? They need to be kept simple. We've made a complex mockery of even the term law by applying all sorts of corporate rules and all sorts of things that are nothing but control mechanisms to control people and to keep them enslaved. That's not what I'm talking about. Those are not community standards that I'm talking about. I am talking about community standards of protecting our children, community standards of protecting people from hurting other people, and at least having places where these can be redressed in real courts of law based on common sense, based on natural law, based on what we term common law, where the maxims of law are employed, where people have a right to face their accuser and have a right to defend themselves without all of the legal crap that goes on in our current admiralty systems. We have a right to stand in our truth. Every individual has that right. But we don't even know that we have that right, because we've been brainwashed and programmed into a matrix culture that is insane. That is absolutely allowing anything goes. A laissez-faire attitude of whatever you want to do, it's okay. It's okay. No, Michael Tsarion, it's not okay. It's not okay. I'm sorry. If we keep allowing that, we'll keep getting what we've always gotten. We have to draw a line in the sand. We have to say enough. No more. And who do we have to say it to? Yes, we have to say it to the people that are leaders, the people that claim the responsibility of being in control or in charge or having authority. Those are the ones that we have to restrain. And we have to draw the line and say to them, no more, like Anonymous is doing with the Ferguson, Missouri Police Department and anybody else that interferes in that matter in the St. Louis suburb of Ferguson. We have to draw the line in the sand as a culture, as a people. We, the people, have to rise up. And we have to say to these bastards, no more. We have to say to the people that pull the purse strings, stop funding violence. Stop funding fraud. Stop funding courts that do injustice. Stop funding a system that is insane and awry and has gone absolutely berserk with its methods and mannerisms and its rules and it's the way it plays the game is nuts. It's absolutely nuts. We have the right and the responsibility to say enough already. I'm not going to take it anymore. We have the right to get angry. And we have the right and the responsibility to each of us to heal, to do our best to forgive ourselves and to forgive others, and to come to a place of peace within ourselves, and to find that place of peace. We have that right and that responsibility to do the inner work, but we must not neglect the outer work. We must not propose even these ideas that you proposed, Michael, that everybody has a right to do whatever they choose to do. No, there are some things that are simply wrong. And this whole New Age bullshit that there is no right and wrong, there is no good and evil, that's total bunk. That is insane. Of course there is. Of course there is. There always was, there always will be. It's not an anything goes world. It's a world of natural law. And the violation of that law is when you harm another, when you violate another's free will. That's the negative side. The positive side is choose love. God has placed before us life and death. Choose life. Blessing and cursing. Choose blessing. Poverty and abundance. Choose abundance. But we can't do that. We can't make those choices as long as there are people that are trying to prevent us from making those choices. We have to draw the line in the sand. Do the inner work, but don't neglect the outer work that must be done. Thank you for listening. Namaste.